In over half of all cases, the stroke doesn't just show up like a thief in the night. It sends a letter the day before, sometimes 2 days before. And most people, smart, capable people, read that letter and throw it in the trash. Why? Because the warning signs feel like nothing. A weird blip, a strange 5 minutes, a moment of clumsiness, a word that got stuck. Then everything goes back to normal, and you think, glad that's over. But here is what no one tells you. By the time the real stroke hits, the dramatic fall, the paralyzed arm, the scrambled speech, the window to prevent it has already slammed shut. You don't get a second letter. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what that letter looks like. The quiet, almost boring, easy-to-ignore symptoms that happen 24 to 48 hours before a major event. This is not a lecture. This is a map. And if you're over 55 or you love someone who is, this map could keep you out of a hospital bed, a rehab facility, or worse. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Alex Carter. I don't do fear. I do patterns. Your body sends signals every day. Most of them you ignore because they're inconvenient. I'm here to teach you which signals are nothing and which signals are call an ambulance now. Hit subscribe if you want to see the patterns of the body before they become emergencies. You don't get a second brain. Let's protect the one you have. Most people imagine a stroke like a light switch. Everything's fine, then click, darkness. An arm goes dead. Speech scrambles. The person collapses. That's the movie version. That image is wrong. And believing it will get you killed. Here's the dangerous truth. For about 1 in 4 people who have an ischemic stroke, the kind caused by a clot, the brain sends mini warnings called TIAs, Transient Ischemic Attacks. Mini strokes, some people call them, though I hate that term because it sounds harmless. A TIA is not a mini anything. It's a full, real biological event. The only difference is that the clot dissolves on its own, usually within 5 minutes to an hour. The symptoms go away. You feel fine again. You go back to making lunch or watching television. But here's where the myth becomes lethal. People say, oh, it went away. I feel fine now. It must have been nothing. That single sentence, that rationalization has put more people in wheelchairs, nursing homes, and graves than the stroke itself. A TIA does not mean false alarm. It does not mean your body handled it. It means your plumbing just coughed. It means the system failed temporarily, and the same unstable spot in your artery is still there, still raw, still ready to throw another clot. And what follows in the next 24 to 72 hours is a full blockage, a real permanent stroke if you don't act. Let me say that again so there's no confusion. If you have a TIA and you do nothing, you have a 1 in 5 chance of having a full stroke within 48 hours. That's not a gamble I want you to take. I want you to really picture this. Close your eyes if you need to. Inside your neck, running up on both sides, are 2 main pipes, your carotid arteries. They're about the size of a garden hose. Their job is simple. Carry oxygen-rich blood from your heart up to your brain. Your brain consumes 20% of all the oxygen you breathe, even though it's only 2% of your body weight. It's a hungry organ. Now, over time, especially after age 55, especially if you have high blood pressure, especially if you smoke or have diabetes, those pipes collect sludge. Pluck. Sticky, yellow, waxy buildup made of cholesterol, calcium, and inflammatory cells. Imagine kitchen grease going down a drain year after year. That's what happens inside your arteries. Eventually, that plaque becomes unstable. It cracks. It fissures. When it cracks, your body's natural healing system rushes to patch it, just like a scab over a cut. But inside an artery, that scab is a clot, a tiny, sticky mass of platelets and fibrin. Now picture this. A small piece of that clot, the size of a grain of rice, breaks off. It travels up your carotid artery into the smaller vessels of your brain and gets stuck in a pipe that's too narrow for it to pass. For a few minutes, that part of your brain goes quiet. No oxygen, no electricity, just silence. That's a TIA. Then your body's own chemical crew, a system called fibrinolysis, dissolves the clot. Blood flow resumes. Symptoms vanish. You feel completely normal again. You think, all good. That was weird. Anyway, but here's what you don't see. That crack in the plaque is still there. It's still raw. And because it's raw, it's now highly attracted to more clotting, like a fresh cut on your finger that wants to bleed again if you bump it. The stroke the next day is not random. It's not bad luck. It's the same unstable spot finally sealing shut for good, this time with a clot that doesn't dissolve. That's the difference between a TIA and a stroke. TIA, the clot dissolves. Stroke, the clot does not dissolve. You don't know which one you're going to get, so you don't wait to find out. Let me give you the numbers so you understand the urgency. One study in the journal Stroke followed over 1,700 patients who had a TIA. Within 48 hours, nearly 1 in 5 had a full stroke. Within 7 days, that number climbed to 1 in 4. Another study from the University of Oxford found that the highest risk period is the first 24 hours, not next week, not next month, The day after a TIA is when you're most likely to have a devastating event. The day before is not rest, it's a countdown, and the clock is ticking the moment those symptoms stop. Let me walk you through the 5 quiet signals in detail. Most people miss at least 3 of these. Not because they're not paying attention, but because the symptoms are brief, strange, and easy to explain away. I want you to really hear each one. Warning sign number 1. The face that does not match. Most people have heard the FAST acronym. Face, arms, speech, time. That's fine for a stroke that's already happening, but the day before it's subtler. What does it feel like? You go to raise your eyebrows in the bathroom mirror and one side feels heavy, not paralyzed, just slower, like it's wading through water. Or you smile at your spouse across the table and one corner of your mouth hesitates for a split second before following along. Maybe you notice that your smile feels lopsided, but when you look in the mirror, it looks fine. That's because you're compensating. Your brain is working overtime to make the muscles do what you want. What's actually happening in the brain? The motor strip of your brain, a band of tissue that runs from ear to ear across the top of your head, controls movement. The left side of that strip controls the right side of your face. The right side controls the left. A tiny clot steals just enough blood from one side of that motor strip to make the corresponding facial muscles lazy, not dead, lazy. They still work, but they're running on low battery. The dangerous rationalization, I'm just tired. But fatigue doesn't selectively affect one side of your face. I slept on it wrong, but sleeping wrong affects sensation, not movement. You can still move the muscles even if they feel numb. Test yourself. Take out your phone, open the camera. Look at yourself. First, raise both eyebrows at the same time. Watch for any lag or asymmetry. Second, smile wide. Show your teeth. Does one side rise more slowly? Third, close your eyes tight. Does one eye close completely while the other hesitates? If the answer is yes to any of these, even if it only lasts 30 seconds, that's not a nothing. That's a something. Warning sign number 2, the arm that goes on vacation. This one is so easy to miss because it feels like ordinary clumsiness. What does it feel like? You reach for your coffee mug, and your hand misses by 2 inches. You try again and you grab it, but it feels strangely heavy. You bring it to your mouth, and some coffee sloshes over the side because your grip isn't as firm as usual. Or you're holding a glass of water at dinner, and you drop it. Just drops. Your fingers opened when you didn't tell them to. Maybe you're buttoning a shirt and your fingers fumble on the same button 3 times. What's actually happening in the brain? The motor pathway from your brain to your arm is losing signal strength. Think of it like a phone call with bad reception. Your brain says grip, but only half the signal gets through. Your hand says, I heard something, but I'm not sure what. This is different from numbness. You can still feel the mug. Your hand isn't asleep. It's just unreliable. The dangerous rationalization, I'm just getting clumsy with age. But age-related clumsiness is gradual over years, not sudden over a meal. I need new glasses. But depth perception issues don't cause your hand to let go of things it's already holding. Test yourself. Hold both arms straight out in front of you, palms up, fingers spread. Close your eyes. Hold this position for 30 seconds. Have someone watch you or set up your phone to record. If one arm drifts downward, or your palm turns inward, or your fingers curl on one side only, that's not muscle fatigue. That's a brain signal. Do this once in the morning and once in the evening. Make it a ritual. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city in the comments. I read them. And if you've ever had a weird 5 minutes that went away, a face that felt strange, an arm that missed, a word that disappeared, type the word noticed in the comments. You might help someone else stop rationalizing their own symptoms. Warning sign number 3, the tip of the tongue that is not normal. We all forget words. That's normal. But the day before a stroke, word-finding problems feel different. And the person having them is almost always the last to notice. What does it feel like? You're telling a story and you try to say refrigerator, but the word that comes out is freezer box. You know it's wrong immediately, but you can't find the right one for 5, 10, maybe 30 seconds. Or you see your neighbor across the street. You've known her name for 10 years. You wave. You open your mouth to say, "Hi, Margaret," and nothing comes out. The name is just gone, completely absent. Then 60 seconds later, it snaps back like nothing happened. Or worse, someone asks you a simple question, "What did you have for breakfast?" And you understand the question perfectly, but the answer won't come. You know, you had eggs? You can see the eggs in your mind. But the word eggs is stuck behind a door that won't open. What's actually happening in the brain? Your brain has 2 main language centers. Broca's area for speech production and Wernicke's area for speech comprehension. A TIA can affect either one. If it hits Broca's area, you know what you want to say, but the motor plan to say it is scrambled. Words come out wrong or don't come at all. If it hits Wernicke's area, you don't realize you're making mistakes. The scariest version is when you're aware of the mistake but helpless to fix it. That awareness, that moment of why can't I say this simple word is pure brain dysfunction. The dangerous rationalization, it's just age. But age-related word finding is slower retrieval, not complete absence for 30 seconds at a time. I didn't sleep well. But lack of sleep makes you foggy across the board. It doesn't selectively erase nouns. Test yourself. Have someone show you 3 common objects, a pen, a key, a cup. Name them out loud. Then have them ask you 3 simple questions. What did you have for lunch yesterday? What's your mother's first name? What city were you born in? If you hesitate for more than 5 seconds on any answer, or if a wrong word comes out, that's worth paying attention to. Do it again an hour later. If the problem repeats, that's not a fluke. Warning sign number 4. The curtain that drops. This one is almost always missed because it's brief, strange, and people assume it's an eye problem. It's not. It's a brain problem. What does it feel like? You're reading a recipe. You're looking at a newspaper. You're watching television. And suddenly the left half of your visual field disappears. Not blurry, not dark, just gone. Like someone pulled a gray or black curtain halfway across your vision. You blink. You rub your eye. Nothing changes for 30 seconds, a minute, maybe 2 minutes. Then slowly the curtain rises again. Everything looks normal, or a different version. You lose vision completely in one eye only. Not half of both eyes. The whole eye goes dark or blurry like a fogged up window. Then it clears. What's actually happening in the brain? There are 2 different mechanisms here. Mechanism 1, the retinal artery. A tiny clot travels up to your eye itself, blocking the artery that feeds your retina. This causes vision loss in one eye only. Mechanism 2, the occipital lobe. A clot travels to the back of your brain, where vision is processed. This causes vision loss on one side of both eyes. So if a clot hits the left occipital lobe, you lose the right half of what you see in both eyes. Why does this matter? Because if you close one eye and the problem disappears, it might be a retinal TIA. If you close one eye and the problem remains, you still can't see the left side. It's an occipital TIA. Either way, it's not your eyeball. It's your plumbing. The dangerous rationalization, my eyes are just dry, but dry eyes cause irritation and blurriness that improves with blinking. Not a sudden curtain that lasts a full minute. It's a migraine aura. But migraine auras usually have shimmering zigzag lines or colored lights. A gray or black curtain is different. Test yourself. Keep a small piece of paper and a pen next to your reading chair. Draw a clock face, all 12 numbers. Then draw the hands at 10 after 11. Now cover your left eye. Look at the clock. Then cover your right eye. Look again. Does the clock look the same with both eyes? Or does one side of the clock disappear when you cover one eye? Do this once a week. It takes 10 seconds. It could catch a TIA before it becomes a stroke. Warning sign number 5, the drunken walk without the drink. This is the sign most people laugh off. Don't. It's one of the most dangerous because the rationalizations come so easily. What does it feel like? You stand up from the couch to go to the kitchen. The room doesn't spin, vertigo is different, but you feel like you're walking on a boat deck. The floor seems to tilt. You bounce off the door frame on your way through. Or you turn your head quickly to look at something, and suddenly you feel unsteady, like you might tip over if you don't grab something. Or you're walking down a hallway, and you find yourself drifting toward one wall. You have to consciously correct your path. What's actually happening in the brain? Your cerebellum, a small structure at the back of your brain just above your neck, is your balance computer. It coordinates movement, posture, and fine motor control. The cerebellum gets its blood supply from the vertebral arteries, which run up the back of your neck inside the bony channels of your spine. These arteries are very prone to plaque and narrowing, especially in people with arthritis of the neck. A small clot in a vertebral artery affects your balance without affecting your arm or face strength. That's why this sign often shows up alone and why it's so dangerous. People think, I'm just dizzy, and go back to watching TV. The dangerous rationalization, I stood up too fast. But orthostatic hypotension causes lightheadedness for a few seconds. It doesn't make you walk like you're drunk for 5 minutes. My inner ear is acting up, but inner ear problems usually cause intense spinning, vertigo, and nausea. They don't typically cause you to drift to one side while walking. Test yourself. Stand up. Walk heel to toe in a straight line for 10 steps like a field sobriety test. Put the heel of one foot directly in front of the toes of the other foot. If you can't do it without swaying, touching the wall, or stepping out of line, and you haven't had alcohol, that's a red flag. Do it again with your eyes closed. If that makes it worse, that's even more concerning. Do this test every morning when you get out of bed. Before you've had coffee? Before you've convinced yourself everything is fine. Here is what separates a funny feeling from a medical emergency. If you have 2 or more of these 5 signs at the same time, even mild, even brief, even if they go away completely, that's not a coincidence. That's a brain under attack. Face feels heavy on one side and you miss your coffee mug twice. Call 911. Don't wait. You can't find a simple word for 30 seconds and your vision curtains for 30 seconds. Call 911. Don't wait. Your arm drifts during the eyes closed test and you walk into a door frame. Call 911. Don't wait. One sign alone could be something else. Could be nothing. Could be a TIA presenting atypically. You still call your doctor or go to urgent care. Two signs together, that's an ambulance. That's not monitor at home. That's not see if it happens again tomorrow. That's a medical emergency, even if you feel completely fine right now. The clot that caused those two signs could be the same clot that hasn't finished traveling, or the unstable plaque that through one clot is ready to throw another. You don't have time to argue with yourself. Why does all of this matter more once you cross 55? Two reasons. First, endothelial dysfunction. The endothelium is the inner lining of your blood vessels. When you're young, it's smooth like Teflon. Blood flows over it easily. Nothing sticks. As you age, especially if you have high blood pressure or diabetes, that lining becomes rough, irregular. It's like the difference between a new non-stick pan and an old scratched one. On the old pan, everything sticks. Inside your arteries, that residue is platelets and fibrin, the things that form clots. By age 55, most people have some degree of endothelial dysfunction, and that rough surface is exactly where clots attach. Second, nocturnal blood pressure drop. Here's something almost no one tells you. Your blood pressure naturally falls when you sleep. In healthy people, it drops 10 to 20%. That's normal. But if you have a narrowed artery from plaque, say a 70% blockage in your carotid, that nighttime drop can be just enough to slow blood flow to a dangerous crawl. Picture a garden hose with a kink in it. During the day, water pressure is high enough that the kink doesn't matter. At night, when the pressure drops, that same kink nearly closes the hose. Flow becomes sluggish. That sluggish flow is the perfect environment for a clot to form. This is why so many strokes happen between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. The body is coming out of that low pressure state. The heart starts beating faster. Blood pressure rises, and a sleepy clot that formed at 3 a.m. finally gets pushed out of the narrowed artery and into a smaller vessel. The takeaway is this. If you wake up with any of those 5 signs, even if they fade after 10 minutes, even if you feel fine by the time you finish your coffee, that's not morning stiffness. That's not I slept wrong. That's a TIA that you just slept through. And the clock is already ticking. I'm going to give you 3 things to ask your doctor at your next appointment. Write these down. Question 1. Based on my age and blood pressure, do I need a carotid ultrasound? This is a painless 15-minute test that shows the inside of your carotid arteries. It tells you if you have plaque and how much narrowing is present. If you have 50% or more narrowing, medication can stabilize the plaque. You don't have to wait for a TIA to find out. Question 2. What is my A1C and am I pre-diabetic? A1C measures your average blood sugar over 3 months. High blood sugar makes your blood stickier and damages your arteries. Most people over 55 are walking around with prediabetes and don't know it. I want your A1C under 5.7. If it's above 6.0, you and your doctor need a plan. Question 3. Would a 30-day cardiac monitor pick up silent AFib? Atrial fibrillation causes 1 in 4 strokes, and you can have AFib without feeling a single palpitation. A standard EKG takes 10 seconds. If you're not in AFib during those 10 seconds, it looks normal. A 30-day monitor catches the bursts that a 10-second EKG misses. These 3 questions have saved lives. Ask them, if you or someone near you has 2 or more of those signs, follow this protocol. Do not drive yourself to the hospital. Call 911. An ambulance gets you CT scanned faster than walking through the front door. Do not take an aspirin on your own. If your stroke is from a bleed, aspirin makes it worse. Let the ER decide. Do not lie flat. Prop your head up at 30 degrees. Flat can increase pressure if there's swelling. Do not take a hot bath or shower. Heat drops your blood pressure further. Instead, note the time symptoms started. Stay calm. Unlock your front door. And when EMS arrives, say this exactly. I think I'm having a stroke. My symptoms started at the time you wrote down. Don't say I had a funny spell. Say the S word. It changes their response time. Let me run through the 5 signs one more time. Face, one side heavy or slow to move. Arm, weakness, drifting, missing what you reach for. Speech, words disappear or come out wrong. Vision, a curtain or blackout in one eye or one side. Balance, you walk like you're drunk without the drink. 2 or more together, call 911. Do not wait. Do not sleep on it. Here is the quiet truth. The stroke you prevent doesn't make the news. There's no dramatic rescue, no grateful recovery video, no she beat the odds feature on the evening news. Instead, it's just an ordinary morning. You wake up, you make coffee. You remember your neighbor's name? You walk straight to the bathroom without holding the wall. You call your daughter and she understands every word you say. That's prevention. It's invisible. It's boring, and it's the most powerful medical intervention in the world. You don't have to live in fear. Fear makes you avoid the doctor. Fear makes you ignore symptoms. But you do have to live with respect for the patterns. Your body is not silent. It sends letters. The question is not whether it will warn you. The question is whether you will read the warning before it's too late. If this video gave you one thing you didn't know before, share it with someone over 55 who always says I'm fine. Share it with the person who laughed off a dizzy spell last week. You might be the reason they call 911 instead of going back to bed. And comment one word, the sign that surprised you most. Was it the vision curtain? The balance test? The fact that a TIA can happen while you're sleeping? I read every comment. Subscribe if you want to stay ahead of your body's warning lights, not behind them. Prevention isn't sexy, but neither is a nursing home at 65. This is Dr. Alex Carter. Stop guessing. Start seeing the patterns. I'll see you in the next one.